the Mueller investigation. Then he hopes it can be wrapped up, in his words, this is what he told our Dana Bash, in a couple of weeks. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I have a couple of reactions. They're a little bit mixed. On the one hand, it seems like big news. Rudy Giuliani is a very well-known person. He had the job that I had later as U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. He served as mayor of the city of New York. He ran for president. So it's a big name. It's attached to a person who, a little bit like John Dowd, is outspoken, is not afraid to get into fights, into legal fights with adversaries. He's a strong-willed person. But we've heard a lot of news over the last few weeks and months that Donald Trump has had a hard time finding, people who are, very experienced in a very real, in the courtroom kind of way, dealing with nuts and bolts, blocking and tackling in the courtroom. Rudy hasn't done that in a long time, and he's a very able lawyer and has a storied history as a prosecutor and as a defense lawyer for a long period of time, but that's not been his recent experience. We also know that Rudy Giuliani has been a defender of Donald Trump in a very significant way outside the courtroom. He was one of the only people who came to Donald Trump's defense after the Access Hollywood tape emerged. So on one hand, it sounds like it's a big deal. On the other hand, it sounds like it's a little bit of a yawn, because I don't know that it changes the dynamic in any way. And according to your report from a second ago, the idea that he's going to cause, by force of personality or resume or anything else, Bob Mueller to go away in the course of 2 weeks doesn't seem very realistic to me. And the final thing it suggests to me is that Rudy probably has appreciated that even if Donald Trump serves another term, he will never be the Attorney General of the United States. It's a very odd thing for someone who decided to serve as the personal attorney to the president to then get confirmed as Attorney General in a divided Senate. So we'll see what happens. I think Bob Mueller has what he has and has the agenda that he has based on the evidence that he's collecting. He'll either make a referral or he won't. I don't know that Rudy Giuliani in the mix makes that much of a difference, other than with respect to the PR that he might bring to the table for the president.
Yeah, he is a very high-profile guy. Giuliani, by the way, says he's bringing two other lawyers into the mix as well to help the president, Jane Serene Raskin and Marty Raskin. By any chance, do you know these two?
I don't.
All right, all this is coming. CNN has learned that Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, told the president he's not a target in the Michael Cohen investigation that's ongoing. It's a criminal investigation in New York City. Is that appropriate, do you believe? And do you think that statement might help Rod Rosenstein keep his job a bit longer?
The speculation about who gets to keep their job and why and for how long is something that occupies a lot of people, but I don't think anybody knows. The fact that Rod Rosenstein reportedly has told Donald Trump that he's not a target means not much at all to me. For the last few weeks, people have been consumed with this debate and distinction between what does it mean to be a target, what does it mean to be a subject. Apparently, Donald Trump is a subject. It's clear from all the evidence that we have, all the reporting that has come, that Donald Trump's actions are being looked at. And has he evolved to the point in the investigation of being someone who's likely to be charged imminently, which would make him a target? No, but that can change at any moment. And then separate and apart from that, with respect to he's being told his status as a non-target in connection with the Michael Cohen investigation, that seems to be in the mix already, given that Rod Rosenstein reportedly moved that part of the investigation away from Bob Mueller's team and into my prior office, the Southern District of New York. And you would presume if Donald Trump was really sort of at the heart of the Michael Cohen investigation ultimately, that it would not have been moved out of Bob Mueller's purview. So I don't know that that means a lot either.
But is it appropriate for the Deputy Attorney General who's overseeing this whole Russia probe to even be telling the president stuff like this?
I have to think about that a little bit more. It seems a little bit odd to me. And I'm not sure that the reporting has been confirmed yet, but it's a little bit odd, yes.
All right. That's what I've sensed as well. The president keeps saying no collusion, no collusion, no collusion. But in court today, a federal court here in Washington, D.C., a lawyer for the Robert Mueller team said they're investigating whether Paul Manafort, the former Trump campaign chairman, served as what's being described as a back channel to Russia. It sounds like the collusion question is still very much up in the air. What do you say?
Look, as I think many people have said over time, and I have said also, collusion itself is not a crime. It's a broad term that refers to people working with other people to perhaps violate the law. And a conspiracy to violate the laws of the United States, whether it's collusion or not, is what people should be concerned about and what I think the heart of the matter really is. And so the other point I'll make is the fact that Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form, this is true of all people who are subjects of investigations as well, the fact that they say adamantly and over again that some conduct has not been proven yet doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I know that Donald Trump likes to say about other people, if they vehemently denied something, that you have to credit that. Prosecutors who do their jobs don't credit that. Obviously, Donald Trump is going to say, for political purposes and for PR purposes, that there was no collusion. Doesn't make it true. It may be true, but it doesn't make it true just because he says it.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on in that Mueller investigation. They've been holding it very, very secretive. The Justice Department is now going to turn over, Preet, those memos that the fired FBI Director James Comey wrote about his interactions with President Trump. They're going to be presenting this to Congress, we're told, later tonight, and maybe made public, at least in a redacted forum, some of the classified information redacted. What precedent does this set from your perspective, sharing these memos so widely while the investigation, the Mueller investigation, is still ongoing?
I don't know how much of a precedent it sets. I used to work in the Senate, and we conducted an investigation of the Justice Department, and we would make demands for material. And sometimes they would give it to us, and sometimes they wouldn't, and sometimes the White House would intervene and say it was a subject of privilege, executive privilege, or deliberative process privilege. And depending on what the political circumstances at the moment, sometimes they're more cooperative, sometimes they're less. I think it would be unfortunate if these materials are being provided because there's a little bit of a people being in political cahoots because the folks who are requesting the documents are in the Republican Party and the administration is Republican. I think that the department has institutional interests in making sure that it can conduct its investigations in a way that are not interfered with by Congress. On the other hand, I think a report suggested right before I came on the air that Jim Comey himself doesn't care if those reports become known to Congress. And obviously, it's not his decision to make, but that tells you something about whether or not people are overhyping this issue.
Yeah, that's what Comey told our Jake Tapper in the interview earlier in the day.